Hello, dear friends, and here we are. 30 days of good news with the Master. Day 21. Yes, 21 days today. This is December 24th. Yes, we're a day. It's like the night before we actually get to see the birth of Jesus. Symbolically speaking, right? Hello, Jussara. Hello, Adilson. So here we have, for those who are coming in today, you're welcome as well. And this is a 30-day journey, therapeutic journey of good news based on the book Good News, which is already in English and awaiting its publication by the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. And we also have the original in Portuguese named Boa Nova by the spirit author Humberto de Campos through Chico Xavier, the medium. And here we have, the book is about 30 main chapters that summarize main lessons from the Master. But this book is unique because it has non-verbal lessons included in it. Thanks to the wise writing and very skillful writing of Humberto de Campos, we can even portray. If people are good painters, we would say, read this book and paint. Paint because it's so enchanting. It's true poetry when we read the description of it all. Right? Yes, and here we have Adilson. Hello, João Bosco. Oh, Angelira, Cessa. Yeah, it's Christmas. And Jussara, yes. Action. Let's go straight to the point. Solange, love the flowers, the hearts, the prayer. Friends, it's our community moment, and that's one of the reasons why we have been meeting for the last 20 days, and today's the 21st, at midnight. It's a way for us to feel a little bit the moments in which the first Christians had to get together in the middle of the night because of the persecutions, but they were not in the comfort of their homes like we are. They were elsewhere in the cemeteries, the catacombs, etc. Also, the dawn represents the beginning of a new day. And the light of the sun is going to come about at sunrise. And our sunrise comes with the good news of the Master. What are the good news today? What are they? Hello, sunshiners. We're talking about the sun. Here we come. Chapter 21 is about lesson on vigilance. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. That's how it begins. Let me read a little bit so we still warm up and feel ourselves one for the therapeutic moments. Again, we want to remind everyone that this is not a moment for us to scholarly revisit history, etc. It's mostly about the consoling and therapeutic aspects of the good news brought in by Christ Jesus. Hello, Tanya Maura, my beloved student, psychologist, right? Yeah, became a psychologist, taking care of people. Wonderful. And here is how we begin. Approaching the end of his time along the earthly pathways, Jesus gathered the 12 apostles with the objective of solidifying the sanctified principles of his doctrine of redemption in their hearts. This is quite interesting because the first therapeutic question for us is, how do you deal with death when you feel it's coming? Because sometimes we feel it. Whether we have a chronic illness that is leading us to the terminal days, or whether we just feel it's like something tells us. How do you deal with it? Because majority of people on earth, they push it away. They don't prepare themselves. And the question is, should we prepare ourselves? Yes. Humberto de Campos has a message titled Preparation for Death. It's already published in the site of thespiritismagazine.com in an archived issue that right now I don't recall. Please forgive me. But if you want to listen to the message, we have a whole program at kardecradio.com. There's a search bar. You just type in Preparation for Death, and there we have a program with the voiceover of the message and the interpretation of it. We should prepare ourselves. And Jesus is the model for us, also in that regard. Because he knew it was coming, so what did he do? He gathered them all together to make sure that we're going to solidify what? The principles of redemption. The principles in the hearts of the disciples. What should we do? When you read the message by Humberto de Campos, you know the items, preparation for death. We should naturally talk to loved ones about the fact that one day it's going to happen. What do you want them to do? Do you want to be buried, cremated? What are you going to do with the belongings? Your belongings. Whether a house, a mansion, a car, or even a pen. You know, sometimes, for example, let me give you an example. This pen is from the Mansion of the Way. Okay? It's mine for now. Let's say I discarnate today. My husband can come, my parents maybe, and they're going to say, oh, this is Vanessa's, she loved Divaldo, the Mission of the Way. I think we should keep it. Maybe she wanted us to keep it. They assume, our loved ones will assume things that probably are not truth. No. But I didn't say anything, so it's my responsibility. So if they keep it, somebody else could use it. I would say, you know, please dispose of it in any way you find it proper, but do not keep anything, just thinking Vanessa wanted to keep. No, I don't. I want you to give everything to the people you find best. That's the best attitude. Don't keep anything. In the sense, don't be attached. Any attachment is not proper. I'll say, this pen, I want to give it to Virginia, or I want to give it to Josara, or I want to give it to my mom, but if you have any specific will, do it. Doing the living will is good. We can talk about it. Listen to the program, please, at kardecradio.com, and let's walk the talk with Jesus, because he's showing us a model in regards to the preparation for our transition to the spiritual realm. Vanessa, my friend, Godoy, you have already done it. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's not simple, but it's important. And also we should ask our loved ones, how would you like that I dispose of your things? How would you like that I take care of your physical body? Because it's going to go back to the earth. Do you want us to cremate? Do you want us to bury? Where do you want to happen? Blah, 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 blah. It's very important. In that golden twilight, so now we're portraying the scenario, the landscape. Let us visualize it. It's about feeling the golden twilight. All of them were fortunately in Caesarea Philippi, where the magnificent landscape rested under the blessings of heaven. Google Caesarea Philippi for you to have an idea what he's talking about. Okay, so we can picture a little bit about the scenario. Hello, Osvaldo. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Jesus stared serenely at his companions. And at the end of a long conversation, in which he talked confidentially about the grand services of the future, he asked them with loving interest, affectionate interest. He is asking us, okay? And what do people say about me? Have they, by any chance, comprehended the substance of my preaching? Have we? Have people understood it? That's the first quiz for us. Where are we regarding what we think and feel about Jesus? Where are we? Is it about somebody who divides or separates us from others who do not understand Jesus yet? Or a master? What is Jesus for you? What do we understand about the essence of his lessons? In one word, L-O-V-E, love. All you need is love. Love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Chooby-dooby-doo. Yeah, we need to feel it. That's the essence, right? John replied that his friends thought that he was Elijah, who returned to the world scene after being raised to heaven in a flaming chariot. Simon the Zealot reported the sayings of some of the inhabitants of Tiberias who believed that the Master was John the Baptist resurrected, which doesn't make any sense because John the Baptist and Jesus, they were kind of raised together. They were raised together. So how can Jesus be John the Baptist resurrected if Jesus was already living? It doesn't make any sense. We're just evaluating because sometimes people talk and talk and talk, not necessarily it means anything. James, son of Clopas, said that he heard that the Jews in the synagogue presumed the Lord to be prophet Jeremiah. What did Jesus do? Was he unsettled? Jesus listened to their observations with the usual kindness and inquired, okay, now something new for us here. We have often observed Humberto de Campos reporting that Jesus was kind when he was speaking. His body language was kind when he was speaking, explaining, caring. But kind listening is something new. He now is reporting that Jesus was kindly listening. What is kind listening? It's a combination that I've never heard in my life. Actually, even psychology doesn't talk about that combination. We in science talk about active listening versus passive listening, but this is something different. It's unique. Even in sciences, we don't recognize a combination. Kind listening? What is kind listening? What is it? What is it when we're listening to somebody kindly? Because you're not speaking. So how can we be kind when we're listening? Are we kind when we're listening? Can we be kind when we're listening? Remember, Jesus, let's remember that Jesus is the guide and model. He's a guide and a model. He not only points to the direction, but he also models how we should walk that pathway. It's so interesting, my friends, because today I was attempting not to use my GPS to pick up a friend at a metro station, and it didn't work. And it's so interesting because as soon as I realized, well, I really need a GPS, it came to my mind, you know. And then Mentor Joseph mentioned as well to me. He said, Vanessa, you see, some people try to get the GPS of the guide, the Jesus, the messages, out of the place. It's not going to work. We need a guide. Oh, no, but I already know. No, we don't. Because if we did, we would already be pure. We need a GPS. Jesus is our kind GPS, plus the role model. So he's not going to be upset that I tell him that he is a GPS, but sincerely, he is the GPS. He shows us the pathway, always the best route. Don't doubt. I know people who are so funny nowadays because we can look at the phones, the maps. They have the GPS in the car and they have the phone together, and they say there must be. We complicate so much. There must be a best route, so they use 2 types of GPS. I'm like, man, this is so confusing. But for us, Jesus is the GPS of all GPSs. We don't need to doubt that there is a best route. If he says this is the best route, this is the best route. Oh, but there must be a shortcut. I don't think so. Oh, but he says about sacrifice with joys yesterday, remember? Maybe we don't need it. Well, if he said this is the pathway, the narrow door is narrow door. It doesn't feel like wide door. Narrow is narrow, wide is wide. And it's constrictive, it's going to require discipline. That's why it's narrow, because we need to trim down, starting from a diet. The diet of our passions, of our wrong thoughts, and also unhealthy feelings, right? So here we have, he is telling us, Humberto de Campos, that Jesus was kindly listening to us. What is it? It's when people are talking to us and we're looking at them with kindness. But to look at people with kindness, we need to do one thing. What is it? How could Jesus and how can he still listen to us with kindness? There's only one rule, which is prefer always to believe in the good essence of people. If people come and talk to us, we listen with open heart, trusting that this person is a child of God and whatever they are saying to us is important. We cannot dismiss. And we pay close attention because they are children of God and because we prefer to believe in the good inside of them. There must be a reason they are saying that to us. They are sharing, they are asking, whatever they are doing. So we look at them with that kindness, from child of God to child of God. Right? That's an exercise for Christmas Day. Exercise for today. Listen with kindness. Listen with kindness. No words. Listen. Trusting the person. Being fully open-hearted to the person. Okay. And then he inquired us. People are divided in their opinions, but you, my disciples, who have communed with me all this time, who do you say I am? Why is the educator of all times asking us this question? He's saying, no matter what people say about me, what do you, Orlando Gray, Osvaldo, Vanessa Godoy, Vanessa Ancelone, Sunshine, Adilson, Angelita, Jussara, Tânia, Solange, Ceissa, João Bosco, and everybody else. What do you say I am? A certain perplexity rocked the small assembly, and people were like, what? Like, what? However, Simon Peter noticed that he was driven by a superior energy, so he movingly exclaimed, "You're Christ, the Savior and the Son of living God." And Jesus said to him while enveloping him in a loving smile. Think about this before the words are said. Embracing Simon Peter with his loving smile. Today we're learning two different things. That when we listen, we can be kind. Listen with kindness. Kind listening. And another thing, a second thing we're learning, is that our smile can embrace people with love. Embrace. We should appreciate more the smile and use it therapeutically. Sometimes we don't know what to say to people. Smile. You know, today I was at Costco to prepare for many things. And I wanted to say so much to people, but we couldn't. So Mentor Joseph said, smile. Smile. Just smile. Think of Jesus when he was embracing people with his loving smile. Smile. And it was so funny. I was so joyful. And then when we were going to the car, Virginia and I were singing, we wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And I was so funny, I forgot some tomatoes were underneath. They dropped in the middle of the street. And then an Asian couple came along. They could barely speak English, but they were so loving. They pointed to the tomatoes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But I was so joyful. I said, what do I do? And they said, pick them up in their language, but I could tell by the body language. And I said, okay. And they started helping me pick it up. I felt so loved when they were picking up. They didn't know us. And then an American man with a beautiful shirt, Christmassy shirt, he came along, started playing and being very funny, and he helped us pick up. And at the end, I just smiled. And I reminded myself of this passage, Jesus is smiling, embracing them with love. And I couldn't give them a hug because we didn't know each other, but the intention was to hug. Thank you. Thank you for helping me. I didn't spare any tomatoes. I loved it. It was so funny. But what a beautiful Christmas experience. Right? Hello, Fatima. And then Jesus said to Peter while enveloping him in a loving smile, blessed are you, Simon, because flesh has not revealed these truths to you, but my Father who is in heaven. In this moment you delivered your heart to God and spoke his word. Blessed are you, Simon, because you now have begun to build the spring of living faith in your spirit. He's saying now Peter has begun. He had begun at that moment, almost at the end of the 3 years of communion with Jesus. Hello, Tanya. Above such faith, says Jesus, I will build my doctrine of peace and hope, because the disastrous deceptions of the world never will prevail against it. Yes, Solange, we can make the difference. Simon, soothed with what he considered a spiritual triumph, he smiled. The Master continued, clarifying the community of the nature of his divine revelation, etc. And then, a little while later, at the same time, the Messiah continued to prepare the companions for what would happen in the future, saying, remember, preparing for the big transition, for going back to the spiritual home. Yeah, we wish it were Rome. Home. The spiritual home. Preparing, gathering the loved ones together to prepare. We talk about the good things, but we need also to be realistic. Remember, Jesus is optimistic, sharing the good news, but he's realistic. Right? Yeah, happy birthday, Tanya Stewart. Yes, thank you, Jussara, for the reminder. Happy birthday to you, Tanya. Thanks to Jussara, we're singing, sending love to you, smiling and embracing your loving heart too. Thank you, Jussara. Thank you, friends. Let us all send love to Tanya. What a beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, we feel the love and the love feels good, says Carol Correa. So the Messiah continued to prepare the companions, but let us feel, thank you, Tanya, for being with us on this special day. A cycle ends, a new one begins. And with Jesus, we fear nothing, we just rejoice. Always joyful, hope, and courage. But let us listen, the Messiah. And there is a reason why Humberto de Campos sometimes calls Jesus Christ, Messiah. He's not simply plain beautiful writing. He also has a message for us inside of it. Right now, it's the Messiah, the promised consoler, the one that was designated to help us by God is coming to do a revelation. Right? Let's celebrate, Vanessa. You're right. Beloved ones, it is important that I enlighten your hearts so that the stormy hours that are approaching do not confound your understanding. Through Simon's word, you have acquired the revealing clarity, fulfilling the prophecy of the scriptures. I am the shepherd who comes to Israel with the purpose of gathering the lost sheep of the immense herd. I come to seek the lost drachmas of our Father's treasure, and what shepherd does not provide the evidence of their attest to the sheepfold's owner? It is indispensable that I suffer. Soon, a scandal that will entangle me in its somber mesh will take place. It is necessary so that the word of the grand teachers of heavenly revelation who preceded me on this path is fulfilled. It is written that I will suffer, and I will not run away from the testimony. Do you know that we also reincarnated to learn, right? And because of our limitations in our perspectives, we, one way or another, are going to feel we're suffering. I know people, even though they're spiritists, they run away from suffering, which is good in a way that we don't want to suffer. But run away from suffering is another story. They run away from suffering and afflictions by drinking, by using other types of illegal drugs. By the way, some people are claiming, and unfortunately, these elections, they covered one major concern that is happening in the United States, the legalization of marijuana. For us spiritists, it's a disaster. Because some people think that when we legalize it, people are going to use less. And all the reports, according to the European experience, say otherwise. The more we legalize it, the more people are going to use it. And it's tragic. Because marijuana may be used for medical purposes, but when we use it to run away, it's what Joana de Angelis calls in her book Existential Conflicts, escape mechanisms. When we want to escape from facing reality, the illusions of life, right? Entering the illusions using marijuana, drugs, or consumerism. Some people are feeling the Christmas blues. It happens. There is a report saying that 45% of people in the United States, they feel sad during Christmas time. Tomorrow at Kardec Radio, actually today at 11 a.m., we're going to have a program just for that, to talk about it and the Spiritist view on it and what to do. So here we have the legalization of drugs, so we escape away. We can't do that any longer. How do we face things that are difficult? Telling ourselves, I have God inside of me. God is taking care of us. No desperation. Fear nothing. As Jesus said to Mary Magdalene. Trust always in God and trust also in you. And everything else just unfolds. Hello, Rose. Okay. So he says, I will suffer and I will not run away from the testimony. So the Master is teaching us. Now he's a model. He's saying, I'm guiding you. Do not run away from your testimony, from your moments of affliction. Because I'm not running away from mine. Thank you, Rose. During a pause in Jesus' discourse, Philip took the opportunity to ask with great emotion, Master, how can that be? If you are the supreme model of goodness, will suffering be the reward for all your work of love and sacrifice? Jesus, without betraying the serenity of his feelings, replied, serene. He's always serene. People are like deeply moved, and he's like keeping his serenity. He's teaching that pairing of emotions. People coming with anxiety. He is returning with serenity. We need to learn this. It is possible. I remember a friend coming to Divaldo Franco once and said, but my life, Divaldo, it's impossible to do these things in my life. And he said, it may be difficult, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It is possible. Thank you, Rose. I'm grateful that we're together. Hello, Gustavo. Welcome, welcome. So Jesus, without betraying his serenity, he replied, I came to this world for the good work, and I do not have any wish other than to fulfill the wise designs of he who sent me. You're right, Jonathan. Something may be impossible until it's done, so we need to persist. Effort, repetition. Effort, repetition. So here we have, I do not have any wish but to fulfill the designs of God. After all, my action is directed to those who are enslaved in the captivity of suffering, of sin, and of expiation. So now we understand why he has to go through it. He didn't come to teach the ones who think they are well. He came to tell to every one of us who feel imprisoned in suffering, who feel that we're wrong, that we're guilty, that we're ashamed, that we're suffering, we're atoning. How could he lead us into freedom if he doesn't go through the route first? In regard to my works, we need to consider that the words of my teachings are only just when sealed with full demonstration of their core values. Do you believe that a shipwrecked person treading in dangerous water offshore could feel comfort from another person who is safe at the beach and limited to the encouraging words from the shore? To save him, one must to teach him the best way to free himself from the destructive vortex, not only through encouragement, but equally by throwing himself into the waves, sharing the same dangers and sufferings. What a master. What an educator. What a therapist. What a doctor of our souls. He's giving us the tip. If we want to be good parents, good educators, good friends, it's not enough to call and say, oh, you're suffering? Yeah. But stay strong. I'm here. You know? No, we take a plane. And you know, today I'm also celebrating the birthday of the mother of a friend of mine too, Dora Coutinho. What a mother. She loves so much her kids that are spread out in the world, because they're living in different countries. Whenever they need her, she picks up a plane and goes, sometimes for a week or two. But she doesn't keep herself like on the phone like, no, stay strong. You know I love you. You know God loves you. Blah, blah, blah. She takes herself out of the comfort zone and goes. And Carrie Stroessneider, her daughter, knows. And I say this because it was her birthday. And for me, she is a role model of motherhood. She has adult children, grandchildren, and she's always been a devoted mother. And I know Josiah Korngold, Turner Stewart, and many others, all of you who are mothers, you are also. But I'm just saying because Jesus, living very far away, she always left the comfort of her, even when she was in different countries as the wife of a Brazilian ambassador. She left her duties to help her children. Amazing. Amazing. Unbelievable. Right? Rihanna, you are in South Africa? That's beautiful. Thank you for revealing that to us. We feel even more nourished with your disclosure of your location. Oh, write to us. Let us know more about you, your spiritist studies, what you're doing. Write to us at kardecradio@gmail.com, okay? Thank you. Friends, here's Jesus telling us the load that weighs heavily on the shoulders of a friend will always feel heavier if we make inopportune comments. However, it will feel easier and lighter to those we love if we make a sincere effort to teach them how one can ease the burden in the twists and turns along the pathway. So he's telling us as our guiding model, if we really want to help somebody, let's go and help them. Instead of saying, oh, stay strong and encourage them. Encouraging them is not enough. We need to go through, share the dangers and the sufferings. Are we doing that? We think we're good friends of people, right? The question is, Jesus is revealing a new pattern of friendship, true friendship, which is about leaving the comfort zone in your life and being there, sharing the dangers and the sufferings of those who are in our lives. You want the yes, scale 0 to 10, 0 to 10. I do this so we imagine a line blinking. Scale 0 to 10. Based on this concept of true friendship that Jesus is saying, that relies upon true empathy, being there and sharing the dangers and the sufferings of a friend. How good of a friend are we? 0, not good at all. 10, excellent friend. I forget my things and my needs to help people in my life. 0 to 10. And then we want to be happy. How? That's selfishness, right? You don't share with anyone else, Cesa? What does that mean? Sorry, I didn't understand. But we really need to think about it. He is now teaching us a lesson, a new concept of friendship, true friendship. Look at the spirit mentors who are true friends of us. Reading the books by Andre Lewis. They leave the comfort zone in their lives and they expose themselves to the dangers of being close to the earth crust, and they come to our rescue. They stay with us. Lesson for us, true friendship. The apostles looked at one another somewhat surprised, and the Messiah continued, do not expect triumphs, because we will not have them on today's earth. So if you're expecting triumph, Jesus is telling us, don't. You'll be disappointed. Our kingdom is not yet and cannot be of this world. Oh, Cesa, now I get it. A true friend does not pass to others what you share. Right. Got it. For this reason, in the next few days, despite my apparent victories, I will enter Jerusalem to suffer the most painful humiliations. The princes of the priesthood will crown my forehead with supreme irony. I will be dragged by the mob as if I were a simple thief. They will spit on my face when I become thirsty. They will give me gall and vinegar so that the scriptures may be fulfilled. I will experience the most painful anguish, but in all circumstances, I will feel the protection of the one that has sent me. In the final, most difficult testimonies, I will turn my spirit toward this love and will conquer the sacred victory through suffering, because I will teach those who are less strong the passage through the narrow door of redemption, thereby revealing to all who suffer that which they must do in order to get through the path of the world, seeking the eternal clarities of the spiritual plane. So here Jesus is teaching us beautiful lessons when he says, it's almost as if we are listening to the psalm, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, blah, 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 blah. Right? Meaning, I feel the protection of God at any time, always. Always serve with serenity. There is Rudy summarizing it all. He is serene, he knows, but he knows life goes on. Now the master became quiet, moved by emotions. Can you believe it? You think he was a cold master? How can he be a master if he doesn't have emotions like ours? He cannot educate us. He was here with us, the real deal. He was also moved. The small assembly showed their surprise, without comprehending the fullness of the divine admonitions. It was then that Simon Peter, whose mental attitude had shifted over time and led by the imperfect notions of his human feelings, approached the Messiah and spoke to him in private. But Master, you should not exaggerate your words. I laugh because, we're so funny thinking that we can teach the Master how to proceed. And Simon Peter says, we cannot believe that you have to suffer such torments. Where then would be God with his heavenly justice? The facts that you let us foresee would demonstrate that our Father is not that just. And then Jesus exclaimed with energetic serenity. Another lesson for us. We never knew energetic serenity can be together at the same time. We always think they are apart. So we need to learn a new pattern. Energetic serenity. Energetic serenity. Right? And we still don't understand it, right, Vanessa? I agree with you. To date, we don't understand we need to suffer. Leon Denis says in the book After Death, which you can buy in the website of the United States Spiritist Federation, spiritist.us, it talks about suffering being a law in our world. Not that we're going to create it, but it's inevitable. Why? Because of our limitations. We still see obstacles as suffering. We still see lack as suffering, so we're going to suffer. Not because it's imposed, because of the way we see it. We still need to grow, evolve, to understand that it's not suffering. Peter, take back those words. This is Jesus saying with energetic serenity. Peter, take back your words, just like we would say to our beloved child of ours. Are you also trying me like the adversaries of the gospel? Is it that you too do not understand me by comprehending only human thus missing the revelations of God? Keep away from me, because now you speak for the spirit of evil. These are Jesus' words. Are you upset? Would you be upset if he told you these words? Would you? Many people would. How did Peter feel? Noticing that the fisherman was moved to tears, he cried. The master prepared to leave. You see? Let's pay attention to our guide. Somebody comes and is not helping, and you need to reveal the truth. They start crying. What do? Here. The master prepared to leave and told his companions. So he was not there babysitting Simon Peter. Oh, Peter, don't cry. I understand you. He didn't babysit anyone. He loved us. But he didn't treat us as infants, because we're no longer in infancy. Otherwise, these revelations would not come to us. He came at a time when we were already growing mature, spiritually speaking, to take responsibility. So he's saying, take your words back and attune with the good spirits, because now you're not. If anyone wants to follow me, surrender yourself, take your cross, and follow my steps. That's it. Do we want to follow Jesus? Because that's what he's saying. Surrender yourself, take your cross, and follow my steps. So no running away from the testimony. Yes, if people use Christmas and New Year's Eve to get drunk, blah, 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 for whatever excuse, I'm so sorry, but you are also running away from the testimony. You don't need to drink. I don't need to drink. But water and juice. But not too much juice because of the sugar. Fructose is not too good for us all at once. And we need, what do we need? Face. Confront with courage. Well. On the day after, the small community was on its way, energetically motivated by the revelations of the previous day. Simon proceeded humble and crestfallen. He could not understand why Jesus was so severe with him. That's how we are. We're so sensitive, and I can never forget when Raul Teixeira told me that story once. He said, Vanessa, Chico Xavier once, he was so sensitive, to people's opinions, etc. And one day Emmanuel said, if you want to keep working, helping us, you need to tough it up. Your skin of crocodile. Okay? In a way of saying, tough it up. Don't be all too sensitive. We can't be all too sensitive, right? That's great, Jonathan. Laughter is a blessing of God. And even the Pope, recently said that he thinks sense of humor brings us closer to God. So we're all learning too. Thank you also, Dilson, for sharing this, the passage in Mark 8:34-38. The way of the cross, then he called the crowd to him along his disciples and said, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. It's not easy, but if we rejoice, we're going to be able to do it, right? Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you, my friend Jonathan, too, and Adilson. So here we have, we're marching towards the wrap-up of today's good news. So many good news, but there's a main message of good news that is an important tool for our journey on the earth and immortality. So he's saying that Peter was still like sensitive. In fact, he reconsidered his thoughtless words and recognized that the Master forgave him because he realized Jesus' smile had been sincere and his gaze had been compassionate, thus creating a new joy in Simon. You see how our loving Master is. Jesus is not upset with us when we don't understand. It's like parents and children. When we love our kids, they may do something wrong. But when they come to us, we love them. We're not there holding grudges. We can't hold grudges. When we educate, we can't hold grudges at all. But when we're talking about being a parent and educator, we need to relieve our hearts from grudges. And Jesus is modeling this to us. He's saying, Humberto de Campos, that he forgave Peter, and Jesus kept being sincere, smiling, and compassionate toward Peter. How many parents I know and educators, the child does something or the teenager does something and they're upset for years. Years. Sometimes 30 years go by and they're still, remember that day I told you not to go to that party and you did? And this and the other happened and you tell, oh, Mom, Dad, come on. That's the past. It's past. Come on. If you love your kid, you don't hold grudges. Why? Because that child is not ours. It's a child of God. If we hold grudges against that being, divine being, we are admitting that towards God because we're all creatures of God, sustained by God 24/7. André Luiz talks about the emissions of mental darts. Our thoughts are like mental darts. We have a mental electromagnetic force, thinking force. And when we send that out to somebody who is being sustained by God, we're meeting that force to God too. Not that God is going to be resentful, but we are not aligned with the force of love. So we can't. Right? But Simon was not able to hold back his emotions. Simon was sensitive. Still, he couldn't do it. So the old apostle approached Jesus again and asked, this is so cute. Simon Peter is so cute. We learned so much with him. He's so childish in a way, but cute childish. Master, why did you ask me to take back my words in which I demonstrated my zeal as a faithful apostle? I can almost hear Virginia sometimes. Mom, I don't like when you're upset with me. I'm like, and I smile. I say, I'm not upset with you. That time I had to be firm with you because you didn't listen. But I love you. I love you. But I'm here to help you. So he's asking, a few minutes earlier, hadn't you affirmed that I brought God's inspirations to our companions? Why did you quickly label me? Forgive me, friends, but Simon Peter is so interesting. Why did you quickly label me as a spokesperson of the enemy of the light? And Simon, said Jesus, he replied kindly, said Humberto de Campos, and that's the paragraph to wrap up the chapter. The Messiah replied kindly, Simon, you have not yet learned the whole extent of the need for caution. He's telling us, you need caution, I need caution. What does that mean? Individuals on earth must take advantage of all opportunities for personal enlightenment in their march towards God. Be vigilant of your spirit along the way. A single thought of love is enough. A single thought of love is enough to elevate your spirit toward heaven. But in the worldly journey, one futile word or a less than worthy comment is also enough to lead human souls to stagnation and the despair of darkness due to their own short-sightedness. We're still short-sighted. So he's saying, one single thought or one word, one comment can either connect us to the higher forces or to the lower earths. Just one. The book Mecanismos da Mediunidade, Mechanisms of Mediumship, yet to be in English. André Luiz explains to us this mechanism that Jesus revealed to Peter. So today you're going to meet friends. You're going to meet family. Be careful. Exercises of love. Exercises of love towards everyone. Peter, in this regard, the apostle of the gospel, will always have immense work to fulfill. Because to obtain the kingdom of heaven, one must resist the temptations of our most loved ones on earth. Those who, even though they live in our hearts, cannot yet understand the sacred achievements of heaven. Jesus was revealing his love for Peter, saying that he was resisting the temptations of Peter. What was his temptation? Did you see the movement? He revealed something. Peter was not well connected. Did Jesus stop his work to go like, oh, you don't understand me, blah, blah, blah. He respected Peter and continued doing his work, but emitting love, kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. They may not, our loved ones may not understand us. We need to work very hard on it, not to stay stagnated in our loved ones' limitations, as much as they shouldn't be stagnated in our limitations. Did we get it? That's the lesson of vigilance. Be vigilant. After Christ finished talking, now Humberto de Campos calls him Christ. Why? Because he's revealing to us a lesson regarding the Christ consciousness. He is showing to us moments that are specifically to the Christ consciousness, immortal, everlasting. Simon Peter remained quiet and began to meditate. Began to meditate. What is the good news of the day? That Jesus is never upset with us. He loves us always. And He cares for us. He's never going to give up. He's always going to explain things to us one way or another, sooner or later. Always kind, always loving, always smiling to us. Shall we wrap up by being grateful for His coming? Because it's already December 24th. It's already that day prior to His coming. Because we're going to meet on the first hours of the 25th. Let us just wish the whole world a day of deep reflections, a day of more love, of deeper love, more sincere love. And let us feel the joy, the hope, and the courage of being here and rejoicing this moment in our community. Shall we? We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year? Not yet, Vanessa. Wait. Christmas. Silent night, holy night. Tomorrow, we're going to have more. Tomorrow is about a different lesson. We're going to wait for that lesson. And in that new lesson of chapter 22, we're going to learn about the lessons of the resurrection and the woman. Beautiful chapter 22. Beautiful good news. For you, my friends, enjoy this day in deep reflections and a lot of love. Don't be shy. After all, love is love. Love for God above all things. Love for our neighbor as ourselves. Wish you much joy and a wonderful Christmas Eve before we see you again. God providing it. Big gratitude and love to all.